Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As usual, I'm your host, Mike. Hello. How's it going, everybody? Absolutely nothing exciting going on today. No big news has happened. There's no burning questions to answer. It's just a relaxing, normal, basic stream where I'm gonna have some fun and play some Last Epoch. Yeah. That's it. That's it. Nothing else. Yep. How's it going, everybody? I had actually a really good day of little bit of farming last night with a buddy, and I have a lot of unique items with high LP, relatively speaking, for my character that I need to find unique items to upgrade desperately. And I don't have a lot of good things to put in there yet. So that's our goal today, is to find at least one unique item to upgrade one of our primary item slots. So we've got weapon, chest, helmet, relic, ring, and gloves that we can all upgrade with new legendaries that I've got uniques ready to go for. And just one second. Okay, we're good. Sorry, had to get the questions document access adjusted so I could have questions from all of you lovely people. So, if this is your first time here, welcome. Glad to have you here. As usual, I will be answering questions from the stream. If you do have a question you'd like me to answer, please put at Last Epoch Game in Twitch or at Last Epoch on YouTube, and we'll get those filtered in, and I can answer as many of those as possible. As usual, we do stream for charity, so all of the stuff that comes in from the stream goes to charity, and that charity is above my head. Yeah, we do Child's Play a lot. We like Child's Play. They're great. All right. Okay, first question. Any news on the timing of the next season? No, I don't have anything yet. We're working into it. We're working on it. We're into development for it. I've actually had some real teasers today for it. Finally, right? And it's like we're in early development for it. There's lots of cool stuff happening. I don't have any specifics on timelines for things yet. What can I say about it? Timing. There's not really much I can say at all yet. I think it's gonna be a good one. I'm really excited for it. There's some stuff that's getting into there that I've been hoping for a while. So looking forward to it a lot myself. I hope you are too. The only thing I guess I can say about if we're going to talk about, the elephant in the room and timing of next season. Next season is the next major thing. So season 4 is our next major thing to come out. It's the next time you'll see like updates to skills and content and all that sort of stuff that coming out into the game will be season 4. So if you're looking for like what's next for 11th Hour Games and Last Epoch, the next big thing is season 4. I know you can't talk too much about Orbis expansion itself, but do you know if the plan is to make it paid or not? I don't have any extra information that I can share yet. As soon as like anything's allowed to be shared, we'll share it. Right now it's just unfortunately no new information at this time. I really hope we can get that information out soon, but I don't have anything I can share yet. I'm sorry. We're still pretty early in the whole process. general. Ooh, do I want to take this? We're up at like 400 on the other one. Yeah, plus 90, that makes sense. I don't think I want to spike it yet. We'll take it easy. If you can tell us, with the PS5 launch, will they have crossplay? I cannot tell you. I do not know. I'm sorry. This is one of those things where, like, I don't even know if we've tried to make this happen yet, or if we've like even considered doing this or not yet. Like, this is a, if you want to see features like this, if there's things you want to see about that PS5 launch, if there's things that you're like, hey, it would be really great if they did this or that or the other, drop it in our suggestions channels, drop it in our feedback channels that we've set up. We've got them on Discord, we've got them on our forums, or just other places that you can post stuff as well is fine. But like, now is a really great time that if there is something that you're interested in seeing for that release, now's a great time to ask for it, because it's at that stage where we're deciding what sort of things we want to put in. There's a lot that's still flexible, and I don't know what's possible or not yet. So if there's things you want, let us know, and we'll do our best as usual to get it in. Assuming it makes sense. All right. Hi, Mike, and happy Friday. Thanks. Hi. Now we know Ellie is coming to PlayStation. Are there plans afoot for an Xbox release? All I can say right now is that we are announcing the PlayStation release, and that's what we're working on. So we're working on a PlayStation version, and that's the news we have for you. Can we get an update on achievements added to the game? The last thing I heard about achievements, we brainstormed a bunch of achievements. I don't know where it's actually sitting right now, but that is something that we've been working on for a while. In general, I don't know the state that the achievements progress is at right now, so I don't know when it will be coming eventually. It is something that we're working on. It is something that we are planning on doing. When that happens, I don't know. I'm sorry. One thing I did just find out today, not specific about achievements, just in general, is that we are working on a new roadmap document. So hopefully that'll be able to shed some light in general on the timeline. I think that's the big thing, is that the timeline seems a little confused right now. I think that's the issue, for the heart of it. Ooh, that's a big hit. I think I died last night to that one. Does the next big thing mean we have to wait longer than expected for season 4? I don't have any information on the timing for season 4 right now. I'm sorry. I don't know. But by next big thing, I mean, like, so we do these tiny little hot fixes for patch 1.3 or for season 3, and so like I wouldn't consider those a big thing, because they're just little changes and bug fixes and tweaks. We're not doing balance changes, we're not adding new content, things like that. So the next time that there's new content and balance changes added to the game will be season 4. The big thing I'm trying to highlight there is that the next time there's content and balance changes that come out will not be Last Epoch Orvis. It'll be season 4, because season 4 is coming first. That's the big thing I'm trying to highlight there. Right. Hey Mike, what are these new NPCs in Lightless Arbor that have crashed into the ground like a comet and are frozen in ice? Sometimes I just see wooden planks in their place in a radial direction, but they always have a red outline. I'd just like to know if this is a visual bug, or if the outline is red because they're targetable and worth investigating for some kind of Easter egg. That red outline is a bug. Should not be visible. Let's go this way. I can't tell you the specifics of the storyline details around that, but there is, like, I think it's one of those things, like, if you read all the lore from the new season that just came out, and you know, all the extra stuff. You can get a good idea of who they are and why they're there. They're very, very ancient peoples. Can I showcase my character build quickly? Absolutely, I'd be happy to. We're gonna go over it real quick. It's focused around Aaron's Will body armor. It is we're using this to get a whole bunch of bone golems, and then we're using the bone golems as damage and buffing other minions and things like that. We're using this is our primordial item, which gives us our T-Rex boy, which gives frenzy to everyone, which is fantastic. We're wearing things like Hollow Finger just because great minion stats, also plus skeletons, which gives us more skeletons for more bone golems. Unfortunately, we're a little shy on getting to like the next one to get 4 of them, so I think we're going to drop one of these pretty soon. Our weapon is just, you know, more minion damage and minion defensive stuff. This is giving stuff to our minions, so we want more of it. Just stats and defenses and more stats and more defenses and more offense. You know, it's just more minion related stats and things like that. We've got some fairly generic stuff sitting here. I need to replace these boots. I'm really unhappy with these right now. And our relics, I'll just go through this quickly. You can clip it and stop it if you want, but they're basically just minion. Our skill, we've got 2 perma wraiths, we've got 3 perma golems. We're not twinning them, so they're not little. We are doing a lot of our damage is also coming from skeletal mage, and we are warping with those here. And that's our movement ability, our traversal ability. Dreadshade, we're slapping that up on a big minion. It's lasting forever. And then we're spamming volatile zombies, which are leaping at and fearing our enemies. Passives, real quick. You could pause. I have an unspent passive point. My goodness. Okay, I think we're gonna put that here. Yeah, that's gonna go there. So that's something we've been working on, is getting our goals right now are more health regen. I want to slap that on the chest because this was the first one I found, and I just put it into a nemesis, and it gave me bad stats. So I'm going to be replacing that sooner rather than later. Yeah, I want a health and health regen chest, exalted chest to put in there. That's my goal. A T7 exalted health and health regen chest would be my albatross right now. Right. Have you ever had a situation where you tried to do something on a live client, but then remember it only exists on the dev client all the time? Yes. It's especially significant the closer we get to a new release. And usually I just internalize it and don't actually say anything. Sometimes I'll mention it if it's a feature that we've been really public about bringing out, things like that especially. But here's a great example. I just noticed it right now. The evade charge with spacebar. When we were adding that, I'd been playing with it on the dev servers for so long that it was just like second nature to me to be able to evade all the time. And when I'd come to the dev stream to play on the live client, I'd like try and get out of stuff by dodging with spacebar, and it just wouldn't work, and I'd die all the time. There's been a lot of other things too, for sure. Yeah, I was making a build once. I was loving the character and making a build on stream, and my whole plan was to use a specific ability that wasn't even out yet because it was on the dev client only. And like I got halfway through and realized what I was doing was just never gonna work on the live client, and had to pivot. So that was funny. I don't think I highlighted that one very much. I just looked silly trying to make a build that everyone didn't expect to work at first. All right. Yeah, so here you can see that I've got like, there's a 2 LP and then a bunch of 1 LPs of these ready to go. There's a 1 and a 2 here waiting for this. And there's a couple 3s and a whole bunch of 2s and some 1s. There's a 2, a whole bunch of 1s, a couple 1s. You know, like, so we've got items prepped. We've just got to actually like get some exalteds together to actually make it happen. Like that's the best one I got right now, but I don't think I can get enough extra skeletons to get over the line. Because I have to do the chest and the weapon, and we're still 1 short, I think. So I gotta figure that out. But I think I'm gonna be replacing a ring as well with just like a generically better ring. Because there's a bunch of wasted stats on this effectively. All right. In the meantime, what are we gonna slap on here? This is our horde of... Okay. Go where you're supposed to go. I know how this works. Okay. Lost our coloring. That's okay. We're gonna do... Let's see these boots. I like these boots. Enter cemetery. Right, we're doing a cemetery. This is the reason why Summon Skeleton is my favorite traversal ability, is because it can jump over gaps that some other abilities can't jump over. I love it. All right, more questions. Moving on here. I love the new coffee tab feature for the stash. Wonderful. Do you also plan to update it with a template-like feature? Yeah, there's there are. I don't want to put a specific name to it yet, but there are a lot of plans we have and work that is actively in process right now for updating stash. How it, like the layout, certain things you can do with it, the rollover process season to season, all sorts of stuff being updated there. Exactly the details on what that's going to look like, I don't have any specifics I can share just yet, because we're still like trying things out, and you know, like we put something in and play with it for a bit and decide if we like it. Another one. Wow. Those imprints doing work. I should probably be imprinting an Exalted item I like instead, because that's what I'm really hunting for. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna imprint a... See if I can find a T7 health chest and just start imprinting that. What was I talking about a second ago? Oh yeah, stash improvements. Yes, we are... yes, the coffee tab was... I would call it a bit of a stopgap. It's great. It's useful. It is a wonderful thing to have, but it is not the end of that development process by any stretch of the imagination. So yeah, we are going to continue to expand the options that are making that better and better and better. Alright. Will season 4 have DLSS? I do not know. I hope so, but I haven't seen anything about it, so I don't know. I would assume that's there's something in the engine that we're either isn't compatible with something we're doing, or just I don't know why. Hey, health. Wrong type of health, but health. Hey Mike, will the changes with set items in season set items in season 2? Yes. Giving us the ability to shadow them was cool, but it still felt underwhelming. Yes. Will there be any future changes to them that you can share with us? I mean, we're going to be updating some existing sets. We're going to be adding some new sets. So yeah, there's going to be, I think part of the reason why it was not super like all of a sudden, hey, set items are a key part of most builds, and I don't know if that's necessarily where we want to get to in the first place, but where even set items are a key part of even a few builds, really, is I think has a lot to do with just the power level of them. So yeah, I think the system works well. We just need to bump the power level up on some of them and add some new ones that are interesting, things like that. We've been debating a lot recently on a few meetings about kind of some wacky ways to take set items. I made sure to pitch, there was a whole bunch of things I went over a few streams ago about weird ways to do set items. And I made sure that I wrote up pitches for every single one of those weird ways, and a couple of them are being discussed still. Hopefully they get approved. Uh-oh. And we need some idols. Idols. mean, that's kind of cool. Don't think we use it, but it's kind of cool. I don't want to spend long looking through here, so I'm just going to see if I can find anything that's even remotely useful for me and just grab it. I don't care about mana efficiency. Sure, that might be kind of useful at some point. Maybe. Yeah, not useless. Yeah, we can do that one. We don't really have a really great setup for this yet. I just do that and see what we get from that later. And Rogue, Sentinel. I use the blue ones. Use the blue ones. Let's do a tower. Cool. That's good enough. Let's go. These ones. This is the redo them, right? Hey, Mike. Hi. With the changes to, I answered that. Whoops. With the influx of cash from crafting and acquisition and the push for PS5 / the expansion pack announcement, have there been changes or improvements to content generation pipeline, which has allowed the team to be more ambitious in scope? Yeah, there's several new projects that have been spun up recently for like things we wanted to put into the game for a long time, and didn't think we quite had the development time to do it. We've been hiring a bunch of new people recently, and that's been going fantastic, and so we're increasing the things we can make. So yeah, I mean, yeah, we're making more stuff. There's lots of new stuff coming. Yeah, I think the volume of content and stuff we're making for the game is increasing, which is great. People love stuff, right? I love stuff. Feels so weird to say people love stuff. Hello, can we expect tower defense content in last Epoch? I really like Blight in PoE. It's possible. I don't want to like commit to anything specific like that, because that's a fairly specific type of content. But I think that shake up in gameplay style with like a bigger variety for objectives, I think is the sort of thing that we are looking at as interesting things to do. More gameplay options. That's a lot of the style of thing that people have been asking from us for a while now. And so yeah, we're doing what we can to increase the variety in gameplay options. I don't want to say specifically that one thing is something we're going to do, but in general, that sort of change is what we're looking for. Has there been any progress on the remaining invisible mob / bugs? I fight Julra via the portal charm, and she's completely invisible for 15 seconds. I do not have any information on existing bugs right now, so if you do have a bug, make sure you report it. F8 in game, real easy, brings it up, slap a bug report in there, no problem. And anything that gets reported will get put into the triage system, and we'll get working on it. Are my PC progress and the MTX I purchased on PC going to transfer to the PlayStation? I don't know. I don't have any information on how any of that's going to work right now. Like this is the sort of thing that we're really interested in hearing what players want. Like, is that an important thing to you? We're eager to hear about that sort of stuff, on what sort of things you'd like to see us try and make work. It's early enough in development that if there's something that you want to see, now's a great time to ask for it. So yeah, drop it into the suggestions channel on our Discord, and we can check it out. It's like, and I say this as like this is the best way to get what you want in the game, because you know, like we've set up a spot where people can say like, hey, this is what we want, and that's where we go to look for what people want. So if you want something, put it where we've asked you for the information on what people want, you know. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that we're interested to hear about. What's important, because like if we get one person asked for that or 100 people asked for that, it's a big difference in how much time and effort we should put into something like that. So if you wanted to ask for it, but we don't have things like that nailed down yet. Good evening. Good evening. I was wondering how the devs behind the scenes feel when a certain item or certain change gets added to the game and all of a sudden there's a surge in that item's skill mastery popularity. This question is ignoring the mindset of game balance to a developer community and does not refer to bug interactions. In my experience, almost always a big surge like that happens from a balance standpoint. It becomes incredibly popular because it's incredibly powerful. Like I'm sure there's examples to contradict that for sure, but from what I've experienced, the vast majority of the time it's from, hey, this thing's really powerful now, everyone jump in and play it. And that's nothing wrong with that at all, to be clear. If it's something that I've worked on, I love it usually. But just in general, I like people getting excited about something in the game is great. You know, it doesn't really matter why they're excited about it. But people getting excited about stuff they're playing is like why we do it, right? That's the question. Let's read it and make sure I'm not missing the question. Whoa! Okay, thought I was gonna die there. I think it was my own beast. Yeah, we'll say it's fine. If you want more expansion on that question, please feel free to ask it again or expand on the question. Will Primordial stay in the game after Season 3? Oh, yeah. You better believe it. Yeah, we'll be looking at various Primordial items, like balance-wise, and like in the future, it's possible we could add more as well. But yeah, there's going to be... That's a long-term set piece for the game. Ooh. Another one of those. Okay, we need to put a better chess piece for T7 health regen in there. If we have one. That doesn't have T7 health regen. I mean, it'll probably be in the... There's just health there, which is nice. Maybe we take this and we craft health regen onto it, but then it might, yeah, so we... You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna add a rule. We are going to make it huge. We're gonna make it red. We're gonna make it stand out. We're gonna make it sound and shine and make this affix health. Actually, we're gonna start with item type body armor affix regen. We're just gonna find a T7 health regen. One of these tiers. More than or equal to 7. Great. We're gonna find ourselves a health regen chest. Playing a blinding light build, and it's hilarious. How badly will it get nerfed next season? I hope it will still be playable. A thicket of blinding light. That's what it is. It is. I mean, like, I try to make a really strong point of not revealing any sort of balance changes that are upcoming next season, that sort of thing. I think that a reasonably objective person assessing the situation would conclude that it would be healthy for that item to not be as powerful and ubiquitous as it is at the moment. Having said that, it's a playstyle that people are having fun with and enjoying, and we do make a point to maintain the viability for playstyles that people are enjoying and having fun with. We don't want to we don't want to take a situation and be like, hey, people really like this, all right, cut the damage in half. Cut the damage by 99%. You know, like we don't want to do something like that and destroy the build completely. We still want that to be a fun thing people can do, but it's, I think from the question you might agree as well that it's a little on the strong side. But we will like the goal is to have that play style in the game, so we don't want it gone. We just want it, you know, brought back down to reality a little bit. Personally, I think if I'm thinking about that item just off the top of my head here, off the cuff, I think that the fact that it has full effect at max range is a little much. I think that's kind of part of the thing, the issue with like a reflect build. You're like you're getting into the thick of things. Like when I think of a reflect build in general, it's like I'm gonna go be a tank and I'm gonna go stand in front of things and they're gonna hit me and they're gonna take damage because they're hitting me. But the range on it's so big, and the max damage happening at max range means that you don't have to be close to things. I think that's the biggest issue with it right now. And I could be wildly wrong about that, so. Yeah. How do you mind your seasons in terms of player retention? Today's Steam, we have like 4,000 players. Last Epoch, like me, it's nearly a month since release. Season 3 start with 80,000 players. Is it a concern, or life is life? Personally, I make a real big point to not look at any of those numbers if I can avoid it. Like, I think almost all of the like player count numbers that I see is from questions in stream. That's like almost all of it, or like one of my friends will message me about it, or I'll see it on like a Reddit post or something. You know, it's almost never like, hey, I'm gonna go look up the numbers right now. Every once in a while I will, but almost never. I try to avoid it. Mostly because I don't think that helps me design the game much better. To look at that, I think that there is definitely value in that. But I think the people who are, I think there's other people that can glean more value from that than I can. So I don't really look at it much myself. It does feel like, so when I look at like engagement and like how busy we are and how well the game's doing, that sort of stuff, I'm usually just looking at like the Ask the Dev channel, how many questions are being asked, what's the variety of the number of players that are asking these questions, that sort of thing. And it feels like it's been a little on the light side recently, which is fine. I think it's expected to be less than 1.2 was, because, you know, season 2 was a huge content drop, and season 3 was more subdued as far as like end game content especially is concerned. Is that plus on max skeletons? I could slap that on and take both rings off completely, actually. That's not terrible. Are we doing this one? Yeah, actually, I like that one. I love my loot lizards. Love them. Probably take too much of them on there, but whatever. The Glyph of Hope is used in 99% of crafting because of how expensive each individual craft costs. If the Glyph of Hope was default behavior, could it be possible to get more interesting glyphs for affix modification? Maybe. I would, the sort of like challenge I would put forth on that is, like what? I think with the options we've sort of like gone through for possibilities to add more for glyphs and things like that, in almost all cases, if we did make Glyph of Hope the default, I think of the glyphs that we've sort of been able to add, I think most of the time you would see you would just see like nothing. Like there were just people would just be crafting with no glyph there at all. There's not really enough. I haven't seen enough good options for broad enough glyphs to be used more frequently than that. Alright. Is there any chance that we could get the rune glyph auto pickup like it is for gold? I'm not gonna say yes or no to this. You know, like we are come on. Oh no, what have I done? I was dragging it. There are no plans to add something like this at the moment. Doesn't mean it's not gonna happen. Like if you want it, ask for it, suggest in the channel, it's a great place to put it, that sort of thing. I know this is one of those things that like you ask for it a lot, and I don't want to say like get anyone's hopes up or be like no forever. I don't want to put a hard yes or no on something like this. Master Sword resubbed 53 months. Oh my goodness, that's a lot. That's got to be one of the top ones. I don't know if I've seen any higher than that. That's wild. Thank you very much, Master Sword. I'm gonna get my Master Sword mounted, I swear, one of these days. I have one. I love it. I don't know. It's in the garage. I'm not gonna go get it. Thank you very much. That's fantastic. Glad you're having fun. What was I talking about? Rune glyphs, auto pickup. Yes. I think that this question was a lot firmer of a no before. Since we do have more like tidbitty things to pick up. So there's more things like keys. There's more of these like little random, hey, that's neat. Ooh, piece of candy type things. I think it's more, there's a better argument for adding that system now than there was 2 years ago, for example. It's still not something that we're planning at the moment, but as there's still purpose to pick up these things, and I think part of it is just having like semi-frequent, like, oh hey, that's a cool thing that dropped, I want to go pick that up, action, now I have it. And that action moment is right now it's I'm gonna physically pick that up off the ground, but I think there's an argument to be made for that action moment being I'm gonna walk over to it. I don't know if that argument is strong enough or not, but if you're gonna make the argument, that's the argument I would focus on. Best I can do is give you tips on how to debate this against us. We have so many prism wraps here. I don't know why I keep picking them up. There's another one in there too. That's funny. Hey, got an LP. And I just hit challenge. Oh, good golly. Okay. We're just gonna go for a random one. Let's see what happens. If you don't put something in the egg, you just get a random unique. Hey. Should let my mana regen a little bit before coming up here. The timing of this expansion is odd. But how much will it be impacting future seasons? How much will it be impacting future seasons? I'm not sure how to answer that. I'm gonna go with I don't know. I'm sorry. It's a big content drop. It's gonna be a bunch of content added to the game. It's gonna be awesome. It'll impact future seasons by being a bunch of awesome content that's in the game, and it's awesome. I'm sorry. I think there's like a different question here, and I'm just like missing the question completely, and I'm sorry. I wish I had a better answer here. Please ask it again. Or if there's like more clarifications or something, and I'll do my best. Can you say the alphabet using uniques from last Epoch? No, I can't. not without looking something. I can't. Sorry. I'm so bad with the names because when we're working on them, they'll have like frequently the name won't exist. So sometimes uniques get built from like kind of two directions, and sometimes we'll start with like a mechanic and be like, okay, we really need a unique item that gives us more golems through some mechanism by like giving up something else, and you know, like we've got to build an item around that. Great, we build this, and the item was one of the name was one of the last things that actually got assigned to this item, and sometimes we build it from the sense of like, hey, here's the item, here's the name, and here's like a general theme and general vibe that the item has, and let's build out specifics from that. Top down, bottom up are the two terms used there, and frequently when we're working, like I have a tendency to start with a specific mechanic and build up from that, and frequently when I'm working on an item, it won't have a name yet, or it'll have a joke name or something like that it'll start with, and I'll come to know it by that, and I'll see like items in game, and I'll see the name, and be like, I don't remember this item getting created at all, and then I'll read the item through and be like, oh yes, I know this item. So no, I don't know the names well enough, because half of them I know by other names. This one's easy because I did work on it, and it's Aaron's name. What are we doing here? I'm definitely not trying to think of them in my head right now, so I can just whip it out at some point later and be like, boom, alphabet. I'm definitely not stuck on F right now. Promise. All right, will there be a faster manner to level next season? Hitting 100 from 90 feels like a slog for 95% of people. I think is what's supposed to be. I think that the power gained between levels 95 and 100, those 5 last, oh, thanks to the resub. Quazier, sorry I missed that briefly, but Mike's minion build is child's play. Am I right? Nice. Thank you very much for the sub, appreciate it. The amount of power that's gained from those last few passive points, those last 5 passive points, is pretty minor, considering you've already unlocked all of the points and trees that you want to get to, so you already have access to the most important nodes on all the trees, and just as a percentage difference change in number of points, it's like you're adding like 1 to 1.5% more points, not even less than 1% of your points, with each one of those points. So it's like the power difference there is pretty low. Most builds are like online and functioning at a very high level well before they hit level 100. And level 100 is where we try and make it feel more of like an achievement than a mandatory thing for a character to be complete or to be functioning at an extremely high level. It's something that'll naturally happen. There's still like little bits of things that you can get from leveling, but it's really not an expected point. Like I know lots of people who will like finish a character well before level 100, and like move on to the next one, and that's totally fine. And there's other players that'll be like, no, I'm going to play a character until it's level 100 and has absolutely best in slot gear that's reasonable to get, and that's also awesome. So it's not something that I would expect a big change on. You know, minor adjustments here and there is totally possible, but I wouldn't expect a seismic shift there. And this might be like the Diablo 2 player sitting in the back of my head still, when I'm like builds where people were like level 80 and builds were basically finished, sort of thing. Alright, hey Mike, hello. With this eventual update to the stash, will performance improvements be a key aspect of its improvements? Implementation, sorry. I asked because I'm in Legacy with a nearly worst case scenario of 200 full stash tabs, and the game will hitch for a split second with each item change in my stash. Thanks. I know that performance is just in general something that we work very hard on and try to improve all the time. I don't know if it's still the case. I know there was an issue with, and there might still be an issue with search being active at the same time as trying to move things around. So try clearing the search bar and see if that changes it. If it doesn't, it's just something else. But yes, performance is an issue that we are working on in general for it. There's so much in those fields that you're updating so many UI elements at a time that it's very tricky to give that much stash space and have it, not go a little crazy. But it is something we are working on and improving. So yes. Let's dump everything. Where's my health regen chest? Huh? Yeah, let's go out this way. Why not? Any plans in the future to let us use other classes' skills? Like maybe there's a skill sigil that allows us to use one skill from a different class. Nah. The skills themselves are designed very much with the specifics of that class in mind, and the synergies and references from those skills to each other is really important. When we're like making a note and we're like, okay, the next the stuff in sort that's like your next ability that costs more than X mana does something, right? And so when we make that node, we know, hey, there's only these 6 abilities that can fall into that category. But if we give that skill to every class and say, hey, anyone can use this, then suddenly we have to account for all of the classes that have options to go in that category, and we have to make sure that they all work and play nice together, and don't cause some broken edge case. Because we really don't like saying like everything but this one ability doesn't work. That's unfortunate. We have to do it sometimes. We try and avoid it. And when you open up the compatibility too much, that happens a lot more. Or sometimes we just have to not make things because we're like, oh, this one thing breaks it. We don't want to make an exception for it. I'm just going to pick these all up. We will sort that out in the wash later. We are going to duplicate 155. Oh yeah, we got lots. We're rich. Why are we so rich? How'd that happen? Right. Hello, Mike. Hi. About new stuff to submit. What do you think about adding item to turn locusts into a single centipede that grows in length and power instead of number of locusts? I think it's a fun option. I think people generally have been giving us a lot of feedback that they want fewer here's one big thing option and more here's a lot of little things options. So I think it kind of goes against most of the feedback we've been receiving lately. So I'd be a little hesitant to do something like that. Oh, yep, that's a lot of damage. But yeah, if you want to see it, drop it in the suggestions channel. And someone will look at it. Took my hand off the keyboard for a second because I was about to take a drink. It's close. Finally got my water bottle back in circulation from the from the boxes. This water bottle is glorious. All right. there any plans to change the sounds of some skill like Acid Flask? I mean, in general, sounds are one of those things that we're always working on improving. I don't know any specific sounds that are up for renewal and updating and that sort of thing. If there's a specific one you'd like to see, please put it in the suggestions channel on our Discord, and it'll get added to the list. Hey Mike, I got a question. Have I got an answer for you? I hope. About Necro Frostbite minion. I see that we don't have much ways to scale the Frostbite chance, correct? Not as much as Bleed. Is that intentional for balancing? Can we have additional ways to scale it? Yeah, I think Cold is an element in general that that's like a secondary element for Acolyte. And we've been slowly adding more. Frostbite is also a relatively young ailment by comparison to Bleed and Ignite and Poison. Which are the most similar analogous options in other elements for you. But so I think that just as time goes on, we'll naturally see more cold options in Acolyte in general, and we'll naturally see more Frostbite options throughout the game in general. And I don't think it's like a really intentional, hey, we have to make sure we keep this low or something like that. Yeah. We've really been trying to give individual ailments their own identity a little bit stronger. Frostbite actually, I think, is one of the better ones for it already. Yeah, here we go. All right. Nice. Welcome, my old foe. Do you think in future updates there could be a new summon minion for Beastmaster? At the moment, all the viable builds for High Corruption are mainly Bear and Scorpion. I mean, yeah, I think the easiest thing there is to buff like Sabretooth and Raptor and things like that to give more options. Like, I don't think you necessarily need to add in a whole new companion type just to give more viable endgame options, really. But yeah, it cycles as we change the game. Like Bear and Scorpion were not the best options until recently. Like it changes as we go, and we make updates to them, and I think you'll continue to see that shift and change as we go forward. Hello, any plans to make Reaper form more consistent or predictable? Just having to pop out of it in bad situations or boss transitions, which they felt really awful. It's a really tricky thing because there are certain situations where the boss fight kind of like pauses, and you almost want it to like just pause the timer because you're like, the boss fight's still going on, but I'm gonna fall out. It's a really powerful effect to be immortal, like, because you can't die in Reaper form, right? So I think it's a really powerful effect, and I'm just gonna keep my current one. I like it. And a lot of the things we've done to try to sort of expand the capabilities of it for those various situations often ends up with, okay, well, now it's just completely broken in these other dozen situations, sort of thing. I'd probably recommend like trying to set up the build such that falling out of Reaper form doesn't immediately just ruin everything for you. I know it's not a satisfying answer, but it's kind of the best I got for you. Is there any chance we can ever get salvage to just be a free thing, because there is pressure early in the game and zero pressure late in the game unless needs for mat? Yeah, this is a tricky thing. We've been trying to figure out ways to adjust this process. We considered many times having like a station in town where you can like just shatter for free, and maybe it's like not as efficient, so like you get like 80% of the normal shards you'd get if you do the free one, but if you use a shattering stone you get more, sort of thing. we've considered changing it to like a base action where you have like infinite shattering stones, and there's like a glyph that makes the shatter more, like get more runes out of the shatter sort of thing. We've looked at just having it be a free thing. There's lots of options we've considered for this. I think as the game evolves and changes, some of those options become more viable. So I think it's possible, but nothing's really planned at the moment for it. If you'd like to see it, head on over to our suggestions channel. And I know everyone's sick of hearing me say that, but I'm gonna say it every time because it's still true. So, what's the deal with lizard tails? I don't know what you're talking about. It doesn't look like anything to me. Nothing at all. Hey Mike, was there ever a consideration to let us craft our own primal unique items? For example, put in a tier 8 mod and a 1 LP unique. Yes. Yep, that was considered. Can we get in the future to group the same items on ground? For example, runes of hope times 10. It'll make the screen less cluttered with items when loot lizards drop so many on the ground. Yeah, there's a few things here. I think one of the big issues when you do have a large volume of items that drop on the ground all of a sudden is that you get certain things like the tag. Let's say the item is actually where I am, but the tag is over there, sort of thing. And then you click on the tag expecting to walk over there, or maybe the item is down at the bottom, and you click on this tag on the left, and you expect to walk left, and you walk down instead, and then you're like, wait a minute, it didn't go the right direction, and then it's a big mess. So we're trying to fix that issue separately. If you are experiencing that and you go through loot lizards and you just like pick up everything and then everything's spread out really far, if you go shift FF really quickly, it will reset the position of every tool of every ground item label on the screen to be on top of where it is. So if there was a whole bunch of things that were picked up, all the things that were pushed out of the way by those things that got picked up will move back into place. So you can temporarily have a bit of a workaround. We're trying to make that more of an automated process. It needs to not happen automatically, because if you're in the middle of trying to pick something up and the item label moves while you're trying to pick it up, that's a problem. But I don't think that's exactly what the question was about. Yeah, just less clutter in general. Yeah. It's also possible that we could do things like that as well. We've done that with some runes, haven't we? Or some shards? Like a bundle of shards? I feel like we did that. Or we were talking about doing that. It's an issue, we're working on it. Sorry, the best I got right now. Alright. Hi Mike, hello! Announced expansion! Will it come with the next 1.4 patch or later? Later. Season 4 and 1.4 will be the next time we drop content. That will not be the same thing as Last Epoch Orbis. Last Epoch Orbis will not be included with Season 4 and will come at a different time after Season 4. So yeah, the next content drop that we're looking forward to the next time. If you see any, speaking of, I actually have teasers today. So this is something from Season 4 that will happen before Elio. I always want to just call it Leo. All right, there we go. Little teaser review. Cool. Give a little hint on the style of stuff we're adding in for Season 4. I know there's a thing up back there. I'm just picking out a new node here. We need more loot lizards. Do we do more loot lizards? Is that what we're doing? Maybe. You know what? We're just gonna do Exalted. How can we have more Exalted items? It's just this. Let's just get more Exalteds. Cool. Put that over there. Whoop. Another trick, you can right click on any tab and just hit confirm, and that causes that tab to be the new default open tab. All right, Last Epoch came from nearly out of nowhere back to Kickstarter. Now it's playing as a challenger to PoE or Diablo. Season 2 was a buster, and there's some concern about Season 3 and furthermore 4. But what's the real plan for primalist squirrels in the future? I mean, they're like I think they need a leader. Yeah. They've been directionless for so long, and they really need someone that can take up the mantle of a true squirrel organizer, hero, legend. I don't know. I got nothing. I'm just making stuff up right now. I'd love to see squirrels back in the spotlight. One of my favorite characters. Design playstyles. That's the word I'm looking for. We're just going. See what we get. We'll find out next time. Here there's a cat who works on UI at EHG who's really good at working on things like stash. Yes, we're working on stash improvements. Yeah, whole bunch of stuff. Don't have any details for you at the moment, sorry. It does have health regen on it. Nothing? Nothing. Might as well be nothing. Hi Mike, I like the pointer in last Epoch now that I can see it. It would be cool to be able to use it as a pointer in the operating system. Huh, can EHG release a file for it? I don't see why not. Maybe? That's cool. I hadn't even considered that. I don't know if we're allowed to do that or not. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. I would love to. Put it in the suggestions channel. We'll see what we can do. Turn my phone off. Made the mistake of replying to some Reddit comments this morning. All right. Any info on the skill customizations shown in the old roadmap? No, I got nothing for you there. Yeah. It's another boss. Just because I like this boss fight. This is one of the first boss fights we made. Okay, more questions. Ooh, careful. Don't die. I know it has been mentioned all content will be for Legacy, but has the idea changed? Is there any plan for seasonal content only? I just want to clarify that what we've said before is that we're flexible on this, and the things that are currently being added to the game are for Legacy as well. And we don't know when we're going to start eventually doing seasonal only content, if we ever do that. So it's on the table. We don't have any specific plans to do it, but it is one of those things that it's like it could happen at some point, and if we did, we would make it very clear and announce it ahead of time. But for the moment, it is just it's all going to Legacy, and I would still like to do seasonal content. So I think that we're getting to a point. I don't think we're there yet, but I think we're getting closer to the point where we actually have space to do seasonal only content, and that there is because there's enough stuff to do in the game. And so what I'd like to see, and I don't know if this is what's going to happen or not, but my current view on this personally is that I'd like to see us have certain pieces of the season happen in a seasonal only capacity, and be kind of like experimental content. And so like try out new stuff, take risks with it, you know, get weird with it, and you know, things that land great, we can polish them and make them permanent. Maybe things that are maybe it's a temporary thing. Maybe it's like the first month or the first week it shows up and it's like it did not land and everyone hated it. We're just like, turn it off. Or it's amazing and everyone loves it. We just release it to legacy as well right then and there. Like I think there's a lot of options where you can do variable release content in a really positive way. But I think it hinges on a few things. One of them being that you can adapt very quickly, and that there is enough exciting, interesting, and variety content in the game that having certain small pieces of it be that isn't like debilitating to the game as experience as a whole. And I think if we had done that like a couple years ago, it would have been a real problem. And I don't know if we're even ready for it yet, but I think we're getting closer to that point where it's a possibility. All right. Why is that one yellow? Thank you. I will get to that. All right, next question. Hey, Mike, what have been the benefits that you've seen from joining Crafton, and perhaps some of the negatives? I haven't seen any negatives yet, really. I mean, I think the negatives I've seen is like speculation on it, of like, because I think there's a lot of examples out there in other games that have happened where it is a really negative experience. And there's a lot out there that are really positive experiences too, in general. And I don't mean Crafton specific, just like a situation where there's like a studio that gets purchased and, you know, things change and it's not always for the better. Sometimes it is for the better. And I think a lot, like the negatives that we've seen so far have been almost entirely around just speculation on what could happen or what might be happening and things like that. And that's, I think that's justified. And you know, people have been, they have reason to believe that things like that are happening, and that's fine. And all I can do is say that's not happening. And you know, we'll see if people believe it or not, and that's fine. But the positives are really great. So like we've been working on, like, the PS5 thing is a huge example of this, and because we've been working on trying to get the game onto PS5 for a while now. This is something we've been trying to do. This is something we've been wanting to do for years. We mentioned it in our Kickstarter that we wanted to do something like this, and we've struggled with being able to make it happen for a long time. And you know, like we're actually able to be in a position where we can do that now, and that's, I think, one of the big things that has been really positive about our partnership with Crafton has been that process has sped up quite a bit, and you know, we've been able to do the things we want to do. Like doors are opening that were closed before, that sort of thing. Because yeah, there's just things that as a studio we don't have experience with yet, and we're able to say, hey, we're trying to do this, can you help? And they're like, yes, we've done that with lots of games, here you go. It's great. All right. Greetings, Mike. Greetings. Why do so many build enabling uniques have such a high level requirement? If you want to use Baldur's Wrath, for example, you need to get 76. Shouldn't most of these kind of items be equipable at max 50? I think that if I think the way that the difficulty scaling works at the moment, and the ease at which, and I'm going to say this, people are going to be like, no, it's not, Mike, but it's how I feel about it. The ease at which you can change your build and respec your build, and with the difficulty scaling as you're leveling, and the ability to change your build the way you have it, I think that it is very reasonable to have build enabling items show up into the 70s easily. We do take that into account, and that's why you see very few build enabling items in the like 80s and 90s. without having a analogous low-level version of that. So a really good example of this is Exsanguinous. It's not crazy rare, it's not crazy high level, but it's a little bit, and it is very archetype enabling. And so like the classes that really want to lean on this style, specifically Acolyte, has a low level class specific variant of that they can get started with early and then transition into Exsanguinous later. So we do take this into account. This is not just a it's fine sort of thing. But I do think that you can substitute Baldur's Wrath for something else as you're leveling and still play a similar build, similar style. You can still have that same theming, and you can still build similar items with it, and so you can still building towards that same end goal, and your character's changing as you go, and you can graduate into a Baldur's Wrath still and it works fine. I think that same situation happens in with many items. Like this build I'm playing right here is a perfect example of that, actually. Like I was playing Summon Skeleton with a single Golem and Skeletal Mages, and then I got my Iron's Will, and I transitioned into Wraiths instead of Skeletons and multiple Golems, and like that transition process was great. Actually, like as I'm talking about this and reflecting on my experience with it, I'm actually think it's a positive thing that happens because that build evolves and changes as you're going, and that playstyle evolves and changes, and you get to experience different options, and you're looking through more skills, and I think that's more fun personally than picking the build and having it online at level 50 and then having it online in the exact same form for the next 50 levels, which take way longer to set the back half than the front half of that. So I don't know. It is something that we take into account, and there are situations where it might not be working optimally right now, and but I think that in general, we do a pretty good job of that, I think, and we can always be better. There are certain items that what we'll do is we'll have the item be a low level item and spike the legendary potential level on it, the LPL, in order to make it so you can get it early and turn the build and get that unique effect running early, but then you can't take full advantage of it and really take that build to the next level until you get into end game and you start finding those high LP versions of them. It's not a great example because it's not a build enabling unique, but the quintessential example of that being Prism Wraps is a very low level item with an extremely high LPL. So as you saw in my stash, there's a whole bunch of 0 LP Prism Wraps just sitting there because they're really easy to find, but they're real hard to find at high LPL or high legendary potential. So many of these. One day I'll find a 2 LP version. One day. Actually, I think I may have one. One day I'll find another one. Hey, 1 LP thicket. That's not something to scoff at. All right. Exalted armor. That's what we want. Do we have to buy another one? Nope. Right, more questions, Mike. All right. Hello, Mike. Will we ever see any minion skills come to mage, like elementals or something? It's unlikely at this point. It's not impossible. We've talked about it. We came very close to making Rune Master a minion class. Very close to making Rune Master a minion class. It actually was a minion class in the early design stages for like a week. We started putting, actually it was a long time ago we started doing this, but putting elemental style minions on shaman and primalists in general. So I think it's unlikely that we'll see many minions on mage, but it's possible at some point. Having like class identity, like strong class identity, is something that we've really tried to do, where the themes that make a class unique and specific and special are really, we try and highlight those a lot. And sometimes what a class is missing is equally important. And so mage, the thing that mage is missing is minions. There's no minions on mage. Almost no minions on mage. That's pretty intentional. Kind of like how there's no necrotic damage on Paladin, you know? It's very intentional. Mike, Phantom Grips are used in many builds besides Forge Guard. Any plans on perhaps make a more general Phantom Grip or Phantom Grips for each class as many classes use them? Maybe. This is a really interesting point. And I think that having items that are good in multiple situations, but better in some than others, like that's cool. I think that's interesting. I think it can sometimes, I think some people have a difficult time equipping an item where you're not taking full advantage of it. Like having dead stats on an item can be really frustrating to people sometimes. I kind of think it's the opposite. I think it's like, hey, there's this item that maybe there's like you're using part of it in a way that wasn't necessarily initially intended, and because it's so good in this situation, you don't need the other stats on it to make it a viable option. I think that's cool. I think that's an interesting thing. I'm gonna do a little test. So this item label should snap up when you shift FF. There you go. So you can see it. You can reposition them that way from earlier. All right. Hi, have you ever considered converting the experience you gain after level 100 into favor points? Yes, we have considered that. I'm aiming to defeat Uber, but I always feel like I'm wasting the leftover experience, so I end up giving up halfway through. I mean, the rate you gain experience at directly dictates how much favor you gain. And as you increase corruption as you just increase corruption, you get more experience in general. Pretty sure. Gotta be in here that says it. Yes, experience gained right there. Cool, good. I hate giving out bad information. Okay. More. Ooh, we're getting to the edge. Really? Seems close. Can we get an option to the black market key trader where we can trade temporal keystones, where we can get temporal keystones? Probably not. Maybe. I'd be surprised, but maybe. If you'd like to see it, head on over to the suggestions channel and drop it in there. The best way to get it. I'd be surprised if something like that got added, but it can't hurt to ask. So suggestions channel is how you ask. All right. Will we be getting a roadmap update anytime soon? And can you give us a hint as to whether what the theme for season 4 will be? Okay. I can't give you any specifics on this just yet. But we are going to be getting a roadmap post coming out. So the roadmap post will have information on like what season 4 is gonna, like broad strokes for season 4, like general theming. I would say think about the. I haven't seen this the roadmap yet, so I don't know what it's going to look like. But I'm guessing that it's going to be along similar lines to the style of one we put out for season 2, where we had like the key things coming for season 2 and some future content coming out after that. So it'll be a season 4 and beyond roadmap post that's coming out, and we'll get some of that info involved there. Yeah, keep an eye out for that. I don't know exactly when that's happening, but I have a feeling, this is Mike's speculation hat on, I have a feeling that given what's happened recently, the timeline on that probably got moved up a little bit. At least I hope so. I'm definitely not saying that so that it will get moved up if it hasn't been. I swear. All right, it's kind of annoying to deal with equip that has plus levels on it. Yes. Craft putting into the tree, accidentally removing. Yes. Any plans on saving the skill points for a little while? I don't have specific plans on how to solve this problem. I can definitely agree with you that it is a problem. I am, as you can see, this character, like, I've got level 28 on 4 skills here. There's a lot of plus skills happening. A lot of my gear has plus skills. I'm taking them off, putting them on. As we're crafting on them, as we're getting replacements, like, there's so many times that I've had to that I've made mistakes on where I'm putting my points back in. I mean, last stream alone, I think I did it twice where I put the points in the wrong spot. I don't have a solution to this available or a timeline for when it's going to happen. But it is an issue that I do recognize needs to have some attention to it. If you have an idea on how you'd like to see it fixed, especially if it's a more out-of-the-box approach, because most of the ideas I've seen for it, we've been like, well, that just doesn't work. So if you've got an idea or something you'd like to see for that, please drop it in the suggestions channel. We are also going to cut off questions in 5 minutes because I've got a good chunk of questions in the backlog here. So if you do have a question you want to answer for the stream, try and get it in the next 5 minutes so we get it onto the list. And I know how many I have to rattle through before the end. You know what I'm going to do right now as well? I'm going to take a quick sec. We're gonna pop this one up too. Boom! There's another one. Threshold node. It's juicy. Good afternoon, Mike. Good afternoon. Thanks again for streaming and giving us new info on Fridays. You're welcome. I do wish I could just like spill the beans on everything every Friday. But I get to keep doing this because I don't do that, so. All right, just a quick question of this season. Was it to be LE's expectation that we could only acquire any of the season's items, primordial items, till we were midway through the monos on first character run? Yeah, I mean, that seems like a reasonable timeline for it. These are like the highest tier items in the game, so starting to get those before you're really into the like deep end game, I think was fine. I think the fact that there is still some room for, you know, getting like legendary versions of them and getting a better rolled versions of them and things like that to really flesh out the details of how that build works, and really like drive it home. I think that was intentional. But yeah, I mean, they come pretty early. And I'm realizing right now that this question was saying that they came too late. I thought it was saying they came too early. Okay. I probably have a different view than you do on the timing of these things. If anything, I would push them later, I think. But I don't think that's the plan. All right. I love that relic, but not this situation. Oh, okay, are we gonna crank this up? Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Sorry, my bad. Has to happen every stream, doesn't it? Oh, ouch. Our mana issues are coming to light here. That was close. Cool. Hey Hey Mike, what about gear evolution? Like you take a unique you've worn forever and let it level up with kills, new affixes, unlock visual changes, maybe even adds a passive tree just for that item. Imagine your exsanguinous slowly turns into blood red the longer you use it. Yeah, I mean, this is kind of the idea behind Weaver's items, right? I think that in a lot of cases, the final product of an item is kind of the only version of that item that exists. Yeah. I'd be surprised if we added a new version of this in, but it's possible. I think it would have to be specific items that did this, not just like here every item can now do this sort of thing. And we kind of do that a little bit, like Marrowphage kind of does that, and like we've dabbled with things that have elements of this. And so I think there's room for more things like that. All right, will we see in the campaign another era before the end of the story? There's not going to be any new eras added to this list. There's like the 4 main eras in the end of time. There's not a 5th era coming. So the rest of the story chapters will take place in those 5 tabs. There's not going to be a new tab added. No more questions. We're cutting it off. That's the end of it. But I do have a good chunk of questions here that I will answer throughout the rest of the stream here. I mean, if something comes up that's pertinent, we might cheeky answer a little extra. But yes, we are cutting off question intake right now. I may be late to the party on this. That's okay. Everyone's welcome at the party. Mike, do you have any plans currently focused on the minion army build idea for an endgame contender? I mean, I'm having a lot of fun with my minion army right now. You know, every playstyle that we see people enjoying, we always like to add new options to it. There's many new like things coming that will have new options for large army minion playstyles. Some of those could happen in season 4. Some of those could happen after season 4. But yeah, like we are very aware that the minion army playstyle is a very popular thing. It's the sort of thing that, you know, we frequently see necromancer and we frequently see necromancer numbers higher than we expect to based on the relative change in stuff that they got for that season. So like in a season where necromancer gets very, very little amount of stuff, and let's say blade dancer gets a ton of stuff, in that same season necromancer is going to see probably a pretty similar amount of play amount, even though blade dancer got way more stuff. Which tells us that, and this is something that's happened for years, so this is a clearly established trend in Last Epoch, and it's not perfect every single time, but it's one of the most obvious things as far as like data-driven observations can go for Last Epoch. And I don't think that comes as a surprise to just about anyone, because it's a beloved playstyle. It's, you know, it's very outspoken on forums and stuff like that, and so it is something that we do pay attention to when we're designing new items and skills and things like that we're like, people love this, so, you know, we want to make sure it's fun. And I'm having a blast with it right now. All right. Hey Mike, I've noticed there's a lot of disparity between certain mobs and their XP they give. For example, most champions and the likes, and like certain mobs give less XP than the Immortal Eye or Maruna Ogres. Do you plan on taking a look at that? I don't know of any specific plans to look at things like that. I know there were a couple situations this season where some experience values were wrong and got fixed, and, you know, maybe we didn't catch all of them. If there are specific things like this that you think might be wrong, I would consider that a bug, or if it's like really significantly out, and I would open a bug report for it. And we'll take a look at it that way. I'm going to this down here. switch out the one that's in the corner. It's the same one that I showed earlier, but it's just, yeah. Hello! Any plans to add additional weapon types in the future? For example, flails, ninja stars, knuckles. So not speaking to the specific things you put there, yes. We do have plans to add more weapon types, both in base types, and when I say base types, I mean like, so two-handed axe is a base type, one-handed sword is a base type, and then we use the term subtype for like a katana is a subtype and a longsword is a subtype. So we do have plans to add both base types and subtypes to the game still, like as far as weapons, new weapons and that sort of stuff. We frequently add new subtypes. And I think that how does this? There's no, you won't see a new base type in season 4, so you're not going to see any of the ones you mentioned in season 4. I think that it's likely to see new base types come with new classes that make sense for those base types to have with them, sort of thing. More questions. Is there a chance Rune Master's mechanics could be applied to other mage masteries? Is there a chance Rune Master's mechanics? Well, I think this kind of goes back to... okay, first thing. Is there a chance? Yes, there's always a chance. Do I think it's going to happen? No. One of the main pillars for design that we have is class identity, and you know, taking something from Rune Master that makes Rune Master unique and distinct, and slapping it on mage or in general, and just giving it to Spellblade and Sorcerer. We're kind of saying like Rune Master doesn't matter anymore. You don't need to play Rune Master to get this cool effect. You can just play any mage and you'll get the cool things that Rune Master does. I think that would be a mistake. You know, like the things that make Rune Master unique and distinct, we want to be what is fun to play on Rune Master. So it's like the reason to play Rune Master, if that makes any sense. If you like the Rune Master mechanics, we want you to play Rune Master. If you like the Sorcerer mechanics, we want you to play Sorcerer, sort of thing. Feels like a weird thing to say, and I think I may have missed the point of the question because the answer was so weird. That happens a lot, I feel. I'm like, I just miss the question sometimes. I try really hard not to, I swear. All right. Thank you for the sub. Nova CD4. Appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out. Hope you're having fun. All right. These last few patches have been great. Question, how? Thank you. Question, how are you feeling about tackling Uber Abbey this season? You feel on the path. Think you can get it done? Congrats on the expansion announcement. Thank you very much. I think I can get it done. I feel on the path. I feel like we cruised through 300 corruption this season, which I definitely struggled with and had to like revamp my build hard last season to do. And we actually tried Aberoth a couple streams ago, and I like got like 3/4 of the way through on my first try, and I've got so many upgrades sort of like pending right now that I want to get a bunch of these upgrades done before I try again. And I think if I get like the helm, chest, weapon, ring, relic, gloves, if I find Exalted and boots, honestly, for like all those slots, which I'm halfway done on all of them. I just need to find an Exalted for each one of them. I think I'll be able to handle regular Aberoth no problem. And I think Uber Aberoth will be in reach. And there's a possibility I may have to, you know, change the build a bunch. Yeah, I think we can get it done. We might have to switch to A-Bomb to do it, but we'll see. Will cold stone elementals ever get buffed? Maybe. I'm sorry, I don't really have hard, this is going to get buffed or not answers here. If you want it, suggestions channel, always worth a shot. Hey Mike, pleasure to see you again. You as well. Any plans? I don't have a name there, so I don't know who it is, but Any plans about having a leaderboard on Uber bosses, kill time wise? Kill time wise, that's interesting. For possibility having to inspect characters so more unfamiliar people can get better ideas. I see what you're saying. Yeah, these are the sorts of things that we're trying to add to the game frequently. So like, yeah, new ladders. I don't know exactly what they're going to look like or exactly what details are going to be available on them. But these are social engagement features that I think people are generally interested in having. So yeah, I think that's the sort of stuff that we would like to see happen. I don't have any specifics on if we're going to do those options exactly or not. But I'm more ladders in general, I think, is something we really need to get on sooner rather than later. Earlier you mentioned that the T-Rex from your Tyrant skull gives your minions frenzy. Why is it not in the description? I don't know why it doesn't actually say frenzy here. I don't know. Probably should. Can we make farming runes of Havoc more direct and accessible? The scarcity is a really big source of crafting friction. Maybe. I think part of the issue there is it would be... The usefulness of those runes and the frequency that you want to use them at is pretty different on Merchant's Guild and Circle of Fortune. How that plays out in where we put that type of extra farming would be interesting, and I don't know if there's problems there or how to handle that. That's my first like red flag that I'm thinking about, but I don't know if there's an actual issue there or not. If you want to see it, I know I've said it a billion times this stream, not actually, but suggestions channel, it's possible. I don't think I know we don't have any plans for that at the moment. I'll tell you that, but no, we get new plans from looking at our suggestions channel. Ooh. Any chance of making idle enchanting so it does not keep rolling the same enchant 4 or 5 times in a row? It usually takes me 20 hours to get one idle enchanted. I could see a thing where it won't give you the same enchant again. Part of the problem there is that you can get like, because there can be 2 affixes there, sometimes you get one of them that's the right one and the other one that's different. And if it's forced to not roll the same affixes that it already has, then you're forcing it to be like, okay, I'm burning this one, okay, and then now I've got a chance next time. So if you're ever in a situation where you've got half of it right and half of it wrong, you're waiting until you have to like burn a reroll basically. I feel like the only way to resolve that is like with a modifier, some way to be like, hey, I like allow repeats or not. Things like that. Just like a checkbox in the UI seems kind of like out of universe. Like it's not diegetic enough. Maybe that's fine. I don't know. I'd be surprised. It's possible. This is I'm getting right back to drop it in the suggestions channel. I swear I have other replies than just that. We may have cut off questions too early. I'm getting almost through this list. I'll try and elaborate more on some of these here. How are bug reports registered and what bugs are prioritized? Are gameplay skill item related bugs first to be worked on? Okay, so no, they're not. They are high priority, but they are not first. The there's two main factors that determine how high a bug is prioritized. The number of people that it affects and how badly it affects them. So if there's a bug that affects one person and completely prevents them from entering the game, like just they can't even turn the game on, you know, that's a really, really bad bug for that person. And if there's a bug where but yeah, it's a really, really bad bug, but it affects almost no one, right? And then if you had a bug that's like the opposite version of that is every single time the game starts up for everyone, there's a very light there's the gold pickup sound plays, that little plays every time the game boots up for the first time, and it's a bug. It affects everyone, but it's so unbelievably minor that almost everyone won't even notice it. And so those are kind of like the two opposite ends of the spectrum, and of each spectrum. And you know, like as if there's a bug that stops everyone from entering the game and playing at all, that's the absolute worst case scenario bug, and that gets absolute top priority. If there's something that affects everyone in the most severe way possible, that gets worked on first. And then everything that's not that gets basically there's people who their job is to make judgment calls on how important bugs are relative to each other based on how many people they affect and how severe it affects those people. So, you know, if there's going back to that initial example where if there's a bug that stops one person from playing the game, and then maybe there's a bug that stops everyone from playing an acolyte. So no one can play an acolyte, but versus one person can't play at all. Which is more important? You know, it's like, and that decision comes down to someone who is looking at the big picture of what resources we have available. You know, who's working on what can we like say there's these two bugs, and it's okay, no one can play acolyte or no one can play primalist, and the same person has to work on those two bugs, because it's the same person that would fix, let's hypothetically say that it's the same person. It wouldn't be, but I have a bad time coming up with examples like this. So then you look at it would come down to a judgment call of like, okay, well there's two people available to work on this. So like one person gets the acolyte one and one person gets the primalist bug. And so it's the triage is also about who's available, who's working on what, how many bugs are in each category of discipline for people to work on as well. So it's a very complex process that we determine which bug gets worked on first. And it's some combination of severity, scope of who it affects, and you know who's available to fix it then. And sometimes like you're working on a bug and some much more severe bug that's affecting way more people will come through, and you'll have to drop what you're doing and switch to that. And that sucks because the bug you were working on might have been really important, but it then gets pushed aside for something that's even more important. That's rare, but it happens. With semi-recent player feedback regarding bugs in Season 3, has there been a change/uptick in allocated dev game programmer time to address that feedback? I don't know. It's hard for me to tell. I've mostly been working on like designing future features and stuff, so I've not been super been fixing bugs that are to do with things that I made in the first place, but other than that, haven't been doing a ton of it myself, so it's hard to tell. There's always an uptick around like a patch release, because there's so many more eyes on the game that just like by the sheer nature of thousands and thousands and thousands of people playing, you're gonna get players into situations that you can't with hundreds and hundreds of people playing, sort of thing. So there's always an uptick that we do allocate more resources for every patch, but compared to previous patches, I don't know if the relative percentage allocation is different at all. There's also more people working on those things now than there were before, so it's like, yeah, I guess just by the nature of that there are more people in general working on these things, that there would be more people working on those bugs. As a percentage of overall allocation of resources, I don't know, I'm sorry. And because I'm getting through these questions too fast, we are going to grab a couple more questions from chat. We just got 15 minutes left. Tons of time. All right. Is the unconfirmed confirmation? Is this the unconfirmed confirmation that Rogue is the next rework? There is, I guess, a little bit of a, you know, how do I say this? At least some nodes on the Rogue passive tree are getting updated. I think you can historically look at the way we do updates for in the last few seasons, and you can probably make some educated guesses as to what we're doing next season based on the things you're seeing now. How do you think about a ruthless mode like in PoE1 just to make the game harder? Well, we kind of have something like that. We've got these boots that make the game just straight up harder for the sake of being harder. It is a little different because it's not as expansive as Ruthless, and I personally I'd love to try it. I love the idea of doing that, and like SSF Ruthless Hardcore is just brutal, and I love it, but it is so not for everyone, and I think we're getting to the point where we're like, that sort of content is more appealing than it and more reasonable to have than it was 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, sort of thing. And I'd be interested in looking at that. Do I think it's going to happen anytime soon or really know anything about it? Nah, I don't. Mike, any chance we can equip a primordial weapon too? Oh, I see. One of each equip or jewelry and a weapon. We are committed to hard limiting to a single primordial item. Whatever combination that is, we have like. There's always, it's not like, okay, I shouldn't say this. No, it's always a chance that we could change things. If you really want to see it, drop in the suggestions channel. Oh my god, I just got bopped hard. You know what that means? We've got to show our last teasery too. Oops. It's a basic one, and that's okay. We have no plans to change the maximum limit of one primordial equipped item at a time at the moment. If you want to see that change, you can ask for it in the suggestions channel. I really wouldn't expect it. That is a very unlikely thing to have happen. All right, let's keep this party moving. I could do the boss one last time. Will we get more unique icons for prophecies? Yeah. The quick change that was done this season for oh my goodness. That's what I get for playing with the overlay on. That's what I get. It's my penance. Why not pick it up? Can't remember what I was talking about. Sorry. The death knocked me out of my train of thought. With the game coming to PlayStation, will it be possible to download loot filters on console? Like really, I have no extra information whatsoever on anything to do with the PlayStation release that's coming. I think that's a fantastic thing to be asking for, and that's the sort of thing that we'd really like to hear about, that you want to see. If you've got ideas on things you want to see on a PlayStation release, please put that in the suggestions channels. That's really important. Now is the perfect time to do it. I think like that is the sort of, I'll say that's the sort of thing that we that I hope I wouldn't let, and lots of other people wouldn't let get slipped through the cracks, sort of thing. But you know, like if there's always a chance that we might miss something like that. But yes, having a way to get loot filters onto any platform that needs it is really important. It's something that we struggled with a little bit for like handheld devices that people were using, because we didn't have a great way to do that at first. But yeah, it's the gameplay experience to be a complete gameplay experience, and that you're not being like, oh, because I'm playing on PlayStation, I'm missing all these extra, like tangential features, like, because the loot filter it's really important, and like I think for a lot of players it makes the game dramatically more fun, but it's not technically required to play the game. Like, you could play without it, and lots of people do. But I think that the quality of life that comes from a loot filter is so much that I think we'd be really remiss if we didn't find a way to make that a smooth playable function on PlayStation. I don't know what that looks like. I don't know if there's special things we need to do, how we're going to do that, what that involves, any of that stuff. But these are the things that are important to communicate to us that you do want to make sure that we get them in. And I hope the major things like this we would catch anyways. Loot filter is a pretty big one. It's pretty close to my heart as well. So like, I'm not concerned about that one. Not finding a way to make that work nice. There'd have to be a really big technical hurdle where we're like, we just can't do it. And I'd be surprised. I'd be very surprised. All right. Is there a better way or a larger pickup radius for loot you can make? It is technically possible that we can do those things. I don't think that there's any plans to do things like that right now. If you'd like to see them, suggestion channel. Will we get seasonal events? I'd love to. Like, that's something that I've felt was missing for a while now. I don't have any details on if we're doing it, or what they'll look like if we do. But I have very fond memories of like little mini games. There was this snowball mini game in Guild Wars 1 forever ago that I remember just playing like crazy. I can't tell you exactly what it was or how it worked or anything, but there was some weird little PvP snowball mini game thing that was in there that was a ton of fun. And it can be little things like that that are really memorable. So I hope we start to do things like that. But we've so far been really focused on getting the content, the core gameplay elements to the game really solid first. Can we get a special shrine graphic for lizard shrines? Maybe. I'd really like to see like a little bit more minimap info on shrines just in general. Even just like a color shift. Like this is like the red ones are all skill ones, and the blue ones are all item ones, and the things like that. I'd love to see. Green ones are all buff ones. Just have like a little bit of extra info. I think that would be a big step in the right direction. Yeah, maybe calling out specific ones. I'm not sure. We're getting close to the end of the stream here. I've answered all the questions that are in my little document here. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that's the questions queue. I guess should I just talk? If I did miss a question, it may have been because it was like already answered previously in the stream, or maybe it's inappropriate for some reason. I don't know. If I did miss a question that you'd really like answered, please head on over after the stream's over to our Ask the Devs channel on Discord. We're gonna get a couple more here for the end of the stream. But if one got missed earlier or something like that, or you just want to make sure that I see it and we get it answered, there is that Ask the Devs channel in Discord, and I'll be doing my best as usual to answer those. Shaman has 2 skills that convert to fire, but 0 fire passives in the passive tree. Why? Because fires are really a really secondary element, or almost like a tertiary element for Shaman. So every class has specific elements that they're really good at doing stuff for, and like for example, Mage is fire, cold, and lightning, and they have like there's ways you can like get some void damage in there. So I would call void a secondary damage type, even tertiary damage type for Mage, just because there's almost nothing there. What? Come back up here. Come back up here. You gonna come up here? We're gonna fight up here? Yeah. All right. Thank you. I just didn't want to fight down there. That's all. Should have left him down there. Not cool, bro. Not cool. I think we're slowly starting to add a little bit more fire support to Shaman. It's one of those things where it's hard to dump a lot of it in there all at once. And because Shaman does already have fire and lightning as primary, or sorry, lightning and cold as primary damage elements, as soon as you start adding fire to that mix as well, it does step on Mage's toes a little bit, because you have the tri-element stuff on Shaman and on Mage then, and that's like Mage's big identity, is that tri-element stuff. So I think we've been hesitant to do that. Now the fire that we do put on there directly comes from like natural theming things. So like we try and still get that that Shaman vibe to it when we do it. All right. It was that fear that caused me to go down south real far. So there's zombies fear still, which I do really like. Yeah, we feared him up this time. Haha. Barbarian buffs win. We need to add a barbarian first before we can buff it. Might as well start this question now, since we 100% know it's coming. Glorious, glorious. I can neither confirm nor deny that barbarian will ever be a thing in the game or not. I don't know. I'll tell you this: barbarian will not be added to season 4 for sure. I'll say that. None of these are likely to be useful much at all. That's fine. All right, we're just about done here. We got 1 minute left. I did not find the uniques or the exalteds that I want. I don't think. There might be a weapon in here somewhere that's pretty good. But I think we kind of need to bump up our corruption a little bit more to get what we're looking for, I think. But I might just have to slap some on there and roll with it. All right. Well, we can, pop these up. One last look. There's the new. These are the teasers we got this week. These are the new. These are 3 new nodes that we will be adding to season 3. Season 4. Sorry. It is early still, so I do want to caution everyone that it is possible that there could be some balance changes to some of these nodes. It's possible they could go up or down in power. But these are some early ones that we're pretty confident about. There's nothing crazy risky here, I don't think. But if other changes cause issues, there's a possibility they could change. And we're gonna try to keep getting more and more teasers each stream as we go. But there's lots of time left between now and season 4, and we're working hard on getting as much into it as we can. So yeah, thanks for coming out. I hope you had fun. I know I did. I'll be back same time, same place next week. We'll be playing some more of my Necro on the road to an Uber Aberoth kill for the first time on stream. We still gotta kill regular Aberoth first too. Yeah. And like I said, if you do have any questions that I missed, it's not intentional, I apologize. Please head on over to our Ask the Devs channel in Discord, and I will do my best to answer it there. Oh, here's a cool one. Let's go check out. Let's go say hi. All right. Y'all have a good time now. Drink lots of water. Bye.